Buy Sri Lanka's best internet package for online learning and online working with many amazing offers. Call 1212 for more information. Sri Lanka Telecom.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, back to square one. After a brief respite for firefighting crews, the empty New Diamond supertanker fire rekindled by high winds and heated hull plates. Switching tunes, former SLMC Eastern Provincial Councillor Shibli Farouk's attempts to plead ignorance over Zahran and Rilwan Hashim's meetings outed at Easter PCOI. Removing obstacles. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa removes 15% gold import tax and announces subsidised loans for local jewellery manufacturers. Parliamentary rights. The Court of Appeal gives the go-ahead for death row parliamentarian Premalal Jayasekara to attend parliamentary sessions. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Monday, the 7th of September 2020.
Nava Sunlight Sakura. Then Dikukal Pavatina Sakura Mal Suandin.
Enjoy a very smooth shave with the Big Easy 2 razor. Big Easy 2.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamike Kanayaka. Now, the fire aboard the empty New Diamond supertanker, which was finally doused last afternoon, has been rekindled due to a combination of high winds and overheated hull plates, leading to what has been termed metallic fires. The fire on board, on the starboard side, I should say, of the vessel's stern has raised concerns as the Air Force and the Navy have doubled their efforts to prevent the fire from spreading once more. Meanwhile, a team has been dispatched to test the waters in the vicinity of the stricken vessel and to determine if any contamination has taken place.
The fire on board the supertanker MT New Diamond was finally extinguished last afternoon at around 3 p.m. after almost 4 days of continuous efforts by the Sri Lanka Navy and the Air Force. During the operations, an Air Force Bell 212 helicopter dropped almost 1 ton of dry chemical powder or DCP, a fire suppressant chemical compound, onto the flames from the air. The result of this method was the eventual dousing of the fire. However, despite this, the Sri Lanka Navy is keeping a close watch on the situation as there remains a possibility of a resurgence of the fire due to the high temperatures in the interior of the ship. Navy spokesman Captain Indigo de Silva revealed that after the fire was brought under control, 2 minor fires had been reported last night. However, they were brought under control by firefighters on duty at the location. Following this, the Air Force carried out more flights over the ship and proceeded to drop more dry chemical powder as an added precaution, the Air Force revealed. Meanwhile, the 10-member team of British and Dutch experts who arrived in the island yesterday to carry out damage assessment are currently on board a tugboat near the ship and have already begun work. Further, a team of disaster management experts from the ship's salvage team Smith Singapore Limited arrived in the island at the Matala International Airport this morning. The 11-member team were transported to the site of the stricken vessel from the Kalbune harbour today. Sources say that it would take several days for the team to be able to board the vessel due to prevailing high temperatures on board the ship. Currently, the empty New Diamond lies in the deep seas 30 nautical miles off the Ampara coast. Meanwhile, on the instructions of the Attorney General, a team of representatives from the Marine Environment Protection Authority, NARA, and the University of Runa are to conduct studies to determine whether the ship has caused any harm to marine life. Accordingly, the team was expected to leave for the site this afternoon to obtain a report on the condition of water samples from the area. Meanwhile, a special discussion on the vessel's current status was held at the Ministry of Ports and Shipping today under the patronage of Minister Rohitha Abegunawardena.
අපේ මේ වගේ අවසාන අපිට සම කරන්න පුළුවන් සිදුවීමක් තියෙන්නේ කොළඹ වරායෙන් ඔබට දෙවියලා කියලා කන්ටේනර් අරගෙන නෞකාවක ගින්නක් ඇති වුණා. කන්ටේනර් වල තියෙන ගින්න වැඩ බලන්න දවස් 10ක් ගියා. අපි මේ කතා කරන්නේ පොරොන්දුවේ තියෙන නැව යටගෙන. අද දවස් 4යි මේක තව අපිට කාලයක් යනවා. මේ නැවි බඩ හදලා තියෙන්නේ අඟල් 18ක් පළලක් තියෙන තහඩුව. මේ තහඩු සේරම විශේෂයෙන්ම නෞකාවේ පිටිපස්ස කොටසේ වලගේ අංග වත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ රත්තුන තහඩු කියන තැන් වලට ඔක්සිජන් දැදුන හැටි ඒවයි මෙට්‍රික් ෆයර් ඇතිවීමේ හැකියාව තියෙනවා. දැන් තියෙන මේ නාවික සතුකම් 6ක් වගේ එළියේ බිම් දෙකක් එක්ක ගින්න නිවනවා. ඒ වගේම ගින්න තාපෑයි දීපකින් ආපහු එනවා. ඒක මර්ධනය කිරීමේ කටයුතු දැන් ඉතාමත්ම සාර්ථකව කරගෙන යනවා.
Meanwhile, as per the latest announcement issued by the Navy at around 6 p.m. today, the fire aboard the empty New Diamond tanker has started up again. This has been caused by prevailing heavy wind conditions, which had caused metallic fires on the starboard side of the ship.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with a heart.
Now, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today instructed officials to remove the 15% gold import tax imposed in 2018, which he revealed was the reason for high retail jewellery prices. At a meeting with officials of the State Ministry of Gem and Jewellery Related Industries, the head of state also instructed to facilitate a special 4% interest loan of 1 million rupees to local jewellery manufacturers and artisans from state banks for gold purchasing.
A discussion on the future plans of the State Ministry of Gem and Jewellery Related Industries was held at the Presidential Secretariat this afternoon under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. At the meeting, it was revealed that the reason for the current high retail prices of gold jewellery was a 15% tax imposed on gold imports in 2018. Following this, the President pointed out that such taxes must be removed immediately and that steps should be taken for the development of the gem and jewellery industry. The President also instructed a program to be implemented where jewellery manufacturers and traditional jewellery artisans can obtain a state loan for gold purchases up to 1 million rupees at a special 4% interest rate. Meanwhile, a 14-point proposal submitted by the State Minister of Gem and Jewellery Related Industries, Lohan Ratwatta, to resolve issues relating to Sri Lanka's inability to become a global hub for gems was also discussed at length.
Now, former Eastern Province SLMC Provincial Councillor Shibli Farooq admitted today to having attempted to provide false testimony before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the Easter Sunday terror attacks. The former councillor was grilled over video and photographic evidence of him and SLMC leader Rauf Hakim meeting with Zahran and Rilwan Hashim before the Easter Sunday attacks, where he at first denied knowledge of the two, but then quickly changed the tune and admitted to having known of the duo and their activities.
Former Sri Lanka Muslim Congress Eastern Provincial Councillor Shibli Farooq testified today before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry investigating the Easter Sunday attacks regarding allegations that he provided political patronage to Zahran Hashim, the leader of the National Tawhid Jamaat terror group. He told the Commission that he was a civil engineer who contested the 2012 Provincial Council elections under the United People's Freedom Alliance, representing the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, and was elected as a member of the Eastern Provincial Council. The witness added that he contested the 2015 parliamentary elections from the Batiglo district unsuccessfully. He revealed that although Zahran Hashim had presented certain conditions to several political parties contesting the general election, he agreed to them on behalf of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress. However, the witness further stated that following the defeat of MLAM Hizbullah, who had supported Mahinda Rajapaksa in the election, a problem arose on the 21st of August 2015 when Hizbullah approached the then President Maithripala Sirisena and obtained a national list seat. The Presidential Commission then played to the witness video footage and also showed him a series of photographs showing Zahran Hashim's brother Rilwan Hashim lying in a hospital bed and former Minister Rauf Hakim and the witness inquiring into his condition. The witness told the Commission that at the time 4 individuals had sustained injuries following clashes that took place after Hizbullah received a national list seat in Parliament. He added that after informing party leader Rauf Hakim, he had visited a hotel that had been damaged in the clashes and the pregnant wife of one of his party members who had been injured, and held discussions on the incidents at the National Tawhid Jamaat Mosque in Kathankudi. He told the Commission that the picture in question had been captured during the inspection visits and was when the former Minister Hakim and the witness had simply observed Rilwan Hashim in the bed with injuries. The Commission chairman then asked the witness if he had only intended to visit the pregnant wife of his supporter, why had he first off visited Rilwan Hashim. He replied that it was not a planned visit and that the group had inquired about Rilwan's condition when they saw him before visiting the women's ward. The chairman of the Presidential Commission again questioned the witness whether he was aware that the injured Rilwan was the brother of Zaran Hashim. The witness responded that he was unaware of this fact at the time. However, when questioned again by the chairman of the commission as to whether what he was saying was true, the witness said that he knew that Zaran Hashim and Rilwan were siblings and that they were involved in the Aliyar Junction clash on 10th of March in 2017. The chairman then asked the witness whether he had deliberately provided false evidence before the commission, to which he admitted that he had indeed done so. The Presidential Commission then showed the witness video footage of former Minister Rauf Hakim and himself engaging in a discussion with Zaran Hashim, and then asked the witness to reveal the location of the discussion. The witness responded that it was held at the National Tawhid Jamaat Mosque. The commission chairman then asked the witness why this specific location was chosen when there are 67 mosques in the Kathankudi area. He responded that despite there being such a large number of mosques in Kathankudi, the location was chosen due to it being the National Tawhid Jamaat Mosque in the area. When asked if he knew in advance that the mosque was Zaran Hashim's, the witness at first replied no, but later changed his response and admitted that he knew it was. Meanwhile, former Eastern Province Governor MLAM Hizbullah and Samagi Jana Balavegia MP Mujibur Rahman arrived at the police unit of the Presidential Commission to record their statements. Former Governor Hizbullah left after 6 hours, while MP Mujibur Rahman did so after 4 hours. Meanwhile, leader of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress Rauf Hakim is currently before the Presidential Commission giving his testimony.
We will see you shortly. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, in the latest update of the government's war on drugs and the underworld activities, 3 associates of organised crime gang member Badawita Asanka was arrested while transporting heroin yesterday. Furthermore, a stash of weapons was also seized hidden at a residence of a former member of Baddegama Pradesh Sabha. In the meantime, the wanted constable attached to the Colombo Crime Division, who was arrested in India, was produced before the Rameswaram court yesterday and was remanded for 14 days. He is the main suspect in the seizure of 23 kilograms of heroin from Sapugaskanda recently.
The police special task force inspected the house of former member of the Baddegam Pradesh Sabha, Gamnudesha Priya Ekanaika today upon a tip-off received. During the operation, the police seized a stash of weapons, which included a live hand grenade, a T-56 rifle, 6 rounds of ammunition, a magazine, an unlicensed air rifle, along with 50 pellets hidden inside the house. Furthermore, a sword, 4 knives, a bayonet and 3 holsters were also found by police. The former PS member was handed over to the CID following his arrest after recording a statement at his residence. Meanwhile, 3 Sri Lankans who attempted to flee to Sri Lanka from Tamil Nadu were arrested by the police in Eruvadi, Tamil Nadu. It was reported that 43-year-old Muhammad Ali, who is a resident of Ampara, his brother Mohammad Hassan, aged 35, and Shahul Hamid, who is 29 years old, were arrested during their attempt to flee to Sri Lanka. One of the suspects, Muhammad Ali, had entered Tamil Nadu in 2006 and had been staying in refugee camps illegally following the expiration of his visa. Investigations are currently underway to determine whether the suspects have been involved in cannabis smuggling operations from the Dhanushkodi coastal area. In the meantime, the police special task force arrested 3 suspects, including 2 women, while transporting 63.35 grams of heroin to Badawita from Bokundara yesterday. The arrests were made at Bodlaskamua when the suspects were in the process of transporting the drugs in a 3-wheeler. The STF has handed over the suspects and the seized heroin to the Bodlaskamua police for further investigations. Furthermore, it was also revealed that the arrested suspects were close associates of organised criminal gang member Badawita Asanka, who is currently in hiding in Dubai. Elsewhere in Anglana, the police nabbed a suspect with 10.18 grams of heroin in his possession last evening. Furthermore, 22,500 rupees in cash, allegedly earned through drug racketeering, and a mobile phone were also seized by the police during the time of his arrest. It was revealed that the 58-year-old suspect has been engaged in selling heroin on a wholesale level from a rented house in Angulana. Meanwhile, 2 suspects aged 41 and 50 were arrested with 22.753 grams of heroin in their possession yesterday by the Anti-Corruption Unit of the Mount Lavinia Police Division during a search operation carried out in the area of Lakshapatia in Moratuwa. What's more, another suspect with 11 grams of crystal methamphetamine on his possession was arrested yesterday in Dahivala. Meanwhile, during a special 24-hour search operation conducted by the police in the Western Province, a total of 1,280 suspects were arrested on various charges, including drug possession. During the search operation, 637 suspects were arrested on drug charges and 519 more for pending warrants against them. What's more, 217.473 grams of heroin were seized from the arrested suspects during the operation.
The Department of Prisons has been informed to allow MP Premalal Jayasekara, who was given the death sentence for murder by the Ratnapura High Court, to attend parliamentary sittings. The Court of Appeal has issued an interim order to the Commissioner General of Prisons in this regard.
The interim order was issued by an appeals court judge bench consisting of its president AHMD Nawaz and Justice Sobhita Rajakaruna. Announcing the decision, Justice Nawaz stated in open court that no court decision had been previously issued stating that the election of Premalal Jayasekara as a Member of Parliament was illegal. He pointed out that there is no legal impediment for the petitioner to enjoy all the rights of a Member of Parliament as per the Constitution. As such, the President of the Court of Appeal declared that no legal impediment presents itself to Jayasekara being sworn in as a Member of Parliament. The hearing of the petition was postponed to the 29th of September. On the 31st of July this year, Premalal Jayasekara was sentenced to death by the Ratnapura High Court over a murder committed in 2015. Jayasekara, however, was elected to Parliament at the 2020 general election and managed to secure the second position in the Ratnapura district preferential vote list from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
Sri Lanka Army Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva pledges to forge ahead with the repatriation efforts despite quarantine facilities housing over 7,000 persons at present. Meanwhile, all primary schools will return to pre-pandemic scheduling from tomorrow, marking a complete return to normal for schools island-wide.
A program to resume schools in accordance with a phased schedule was launched with the easing of the COVID-19 situation in Sri Lanka, bringing an end to the months of long school closure island-wide. However, things progressed further on the 2nd of this month as grades 6 to 13 reverted back to the pre-coronavirus schedule, with school hours being 7:30 am to 1:30 pm each day. With that being the case, the Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Professor Kapila Perera, says that the education activities of the primary schools, which were still operating under the phased schedule last week, too will revert to the pre-pandemic scheduling from tomorrow. In the meantime, a group of fishermen from the area of Mathura, who drifted to the Mauritius island due to a mechanical fault with their boat, suffered a similar problem on their way back to the island. Instead of drifting to a foreign territory, the fishermen, however, came ashore at the Kudavella fishing harbour in Tangol. They are directed to the Oliville Quarantine Centre and their boats are being kept at the fishing harbour. Meanwhile, only 2 COVID-19 cases were confirmed from the island yesterday, with Sri Lankan returnees from India and the UAE testing positive for the virus. At present, the country's active number of COVID-19 cases stand at 185, while the number of recoveries is 2,926.
නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථාන අද දිනේට 1500කට අධික සංඛ්‍යාවක් ඉන්නවා. ඉදිරි දින කිහිපෙදී නැවත වතාවක් ගුවන් යාන වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් ගෙන්නන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථාන 75ක් පමණ අපි පවත්වාගෙන යනු ලබනවා. නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථාන වල සංඛ්‍යාවන් කොයි ආකාරයේ තිබ්බත් අපි නොනවත්වා ශ්‍රී ලාංකයන් ඉදිරියේදී ගෙන්න ගන්න. නමුත් ඒක සැලසුමකට අනුව සමාජය තුළ පැතිරෙන නොවන ආකාරයෙන් තමයි අපි ගෙන්නාගෙන කටයුතු කරන්නේ.
The landslide warnings issued in 5 districts are still in effect, with the Building Research Organisation urging the public to be vigilant over pre-landslide signs. The inclement weather, meanwhile, claimed another life when an earth slip devoured part of a house in Kadwila last night. The Department of Meteorology, meanwhile, says that sporadic showers are still very much a possibility.
The inclement weather experienced across the island with heavy rains and winds has affected general public life. Incidents of falling trees were reported from several areas of the country, affecting transportation services. Furthermore, the inclement weather also damaged houses. In the meantime, in Kadwila, a 22-year-old girl died after a mound of earth and a wall collapsed on her house. Her mother, who was seriously injured, is currently receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. Meanwhile, the landslide warnings issued by the National Building Research Organisation for the districts of Colombo, Galle, K-Galle, Ratnapura and Kalutara are still in effect.
yesterday experienced heavy rainfall. With that condition, NBRO has issued landslide early warning. Further, NBRO requests people during this landslide early warning period, please pay attention to the following: development of cracks on the ground, different cracks and ground subsidence, slanting of trees, electrical posts, fences and telephone posts, cracks in the floor and wall of building which are built at slopes, sudden appearance of springs, emerging muddy water, blockage of disappearance of existing springs. People should move immediately away from the areas where they notice the above pre-landslide signs.
The Department of Meteorology meanwhile expects sporadic showers in the western, Sabaragamu, central and northwestern provinces as well as the districts of Gaul and Mathura. Fairly heavy rains of above 50 millimeters are also likely in some areas. It also forecasts showers or thunder showers in the districts of Ampara and Batiklo as well as the Uva province this evening. Furthermore, wind speed can increase up to 50 km per hour at times across the island, particularly in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the districts of Trincomalee, Hambantota, Kandy and Nuwara.
Join us once more on the other side of this break. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, Samagi Janabalawege parliamentarian Iran Vikramaratne says that the government is currently working to establish an authoritarian system through the 20th Amendment to the Constitution by removing all checks and balances that were put in place by the 19th Amendment. He added that while it is important to have a government that is clean and efficient, the public must recognize the importance of a government to operate within the law.
When Prime Minister and later President J.R. Jayawardena came in, they brought in a new constitution to this country. From that early age, I heard members of the then opposition going around this country saying that this constitution is a dictatorial constitution and that this must be changed. Virtually every person running for president said that dictatorial constitution must be abolished. Some of these same people are trying to justify the bringing of the 20th Amendment. And the 19th Amendment was basically brought to put checks and balances on the use of presidential power. Often the 19th Amendment is also put forward to say, for example, the Easter bombings happened because of it. There's absolutely no connection. The 19th Amendment gave the president absolute power in terms of using the forces and defense. Our issue is not an issue of law. Our issue is an issue of people, personalities, leadership and management. That is the issue that the country has faced in the past. So why are they bringing the 20th Amendment? They are trying to make sure legal framework is provided for an authoritarian system that has begun its journey.
Now, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and Minister of Education, Professor GL Peers, today rubbished rumours being circulated by interested parties that all independent commissions will be abolished through the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. Addressing a media briefing, Professor Peers added that the new amendment has instead guaranteed the existence of all the 7 commissions.
රට කෙතරම් අරාජක වුණා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුව රැස් වෙලා අවුරුදු 4මාරක් ගත වෙනතුරු 3/2ක බලයක් නැතිනම් පාර්ලිමේන්තුව විසිරවන්න බෑ. ඒතර මොකක්ද ඒකේ ප්‍රතිඵලය? ආණ්ඩුවක් නැති රටක්. ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා බලයට පත් වුණේ ගිය අවුරුද්දේ නොවැම්බර් 16. 19 වන සංශෝධනය නොතිබුණා නම් එතුමා වහාම කරන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව විසිරවන එක. මාස 10ක් අපතේ ගියා. කාටද අවශ්‍ය? රාජපක්ෂ පවුරට නෙවෙයි මේ රටේ ජනතාවට. සමහර අය කියනවා කොමිෂන් සභා 20 වන සංශෝධනයෙන් අහෝසි වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලා. සම්පූර්ණ මිත්‍යාවක්. පට්ටපල් බොරුවක්. කොමිෂන් සභා තියෙනවා. කොමිෂන් සභා 7ක අඛණ්ඩ පැවැත්ම සහතික කරලා තිබෙනවා 20 වන සංශෝධනය. හැබැයි මේ කොමිෂන් සභා 7 ස්ථාපිත කිරීමේ කාර්යභාරය පිළිබඳ වෙනසක් ඇති වෙලා තිබෙනවා. ඉස්සෙල්ලා තිබිච්ච ව්‍යවස්ථා මණ්ඩලය වෙනුවට දැන් පාර්ලිමේන්තු කවුන්සිලයක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු කවුන්සිලයේ යෝජනා හා අදහස් විමසීමට අනිවාර්ය යුතුයකමක් හා වගකීම ජනාධිපතිවරයාට පැවරෙනවා. හිතුවමතුවේ අත්නෝමතික ලෙස පත් කරන්න බෑ. මේ රටේ සියලුම පුරවැසි කාස් වෙලා ඡන්දය දුන් ජනාධිපතිවරයාට ඒ බලතල දීම සුදුසුයි.
In other local stories, Dr. Palitha Kohona is to be appointed as the new Sri Lankan ambassador to China. Dr. Kohona was formally nominated to the post by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The Foreign Ministry has referred the nomination to the High Posts Committee of Parliament for its approval. Dr. Kohana has a distinguished record in academics, international law and practical diplomacy, and holds advanced degrees from 3 countries and experience as a civil servant with the Australian and Sri Lankan governments and the United Nations. He was Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka from 2006 to 2009 and then went on to the UN to become the permanent representative of Sri Lanka in New York until 2015. In 2013, he was elected chair of the UN General Assembly's 6th Committee on Legal Affairs and was co-chair of the UN Working Group on Biological Diversity beyond national jurisdiction, as well as the chair of the UN Committee on Israeli Practices in the Occupied Arab Territories. The Global Innovation Index 2020, a leading benchmark tool for business executives, policymakers and others seeking insight into the state of innovation around the world, has reported a drop in Sri Lanka's ranking by 12 places to 101. This places Sri Lanka among countries reported to be performing below expectations for its level of development.
Sri Lanka has dropped 12 places to be ranked 101st in the latest Global Innovation Index 2020 from last year's 89th rank, with a score of 23.78 on a 0 to 100 scale, with 100 being the most innovative. Sri Lanka, along with 10 other countries performing at expectations before, is now performing below expectations for their level of development. In 2019, these 11 economies were already at the border of performing below expectations and now swap out of the performing at expectations group, the report said. Sri Lanka performed poorly in the sub-indices of institutions, ranking 119th, human capital and research ranking 119th again, while showing improvement in infrastructure at 78th, business sophistication at 70th, and knowledge and technology outputs at 68th. Further, the country also ranked 118th in market sophistication and 100th in creative outputs. In Central and Southern Asia, India reached the top 3 in the 50 best performers in the world after reaching a ranking of 48, the highest ranking of the region, followed by Iran with a ranking of 67.
Now, Sri Lankan stocks closed 0.75% lower during the day's trading today. The all-share price index fell 0.01% or 0.75 points to close at 5,310.67, while the S&P SL20 index of most liquid stocks fell 0.59% or 13.68 points to 2,307.89. Market turnover was 757 million rupees, where 94 stocks gained and 78 fell. Now here's a brief report on today's market performance.
Stock market gave a slow start for the week, continuous fall for a 3 consecutive session, primarily due to the selling pressure in selective counters. And market recorded upward trend in the first few minutes of the trading as it reached intraday high of 5,330, and thereafter market witnessed a continuous downtrend till the day and closed at 5,031. And turnover fell below 1 billion almost a month, while the capital goods and the material counters led the turnover, contributing 34%. And market continued to be recorded net foreign outflow with a very low participation.
And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.